Hey everybody, my name is Dave. I am an alcoholic. You know, one of my favorite steps in the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous is step 11, because I love the idea of improving my conscious contact with God, right? So in the big book it says, when we come into the program, when we get drinking out of our lives, we need to focus on something new. We have adopted a higher power into our life, whatever that is for you, whatever you understand, your understanding of a higher power. And when you get that, you want to be able to improve it. And for me, I don't know, when I came into the program, let me just say it this way. When I came into the program, I was irritable, restless, and discontent, for sure. Like, I had gotten rid of drinking, and I didn't need drinking, and I didn't want to drink anymore. But what happened was life was still felt brutally cold to me. I felt better because I didn't have the alcohol in my blood, and it wasn't like poisoning my brain, body, my physical aspect. It wasn't poisoning me anymore, so I felt better, but I still needed something more. I felt like something in my life was missing. And this for me was something that made me irritable. I couldn't put my finger on it. And I can tell you that before I was in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, before I had decided to actually surrender to the program, before I did that, I quit on my own. Like, I had a decent amount of willpower, and I quit on my own. I met this girl. I thought she was the girl of my dreams, the one that was made for me. We were soulmates. And one of her things was like, if you're going to drink and do drugs, you're not going to be in my life. And for me, that was like an important enough reason that I was like, you know what? I already knew that I needed to quit drinking and doing drugs. So I already knew it. I was just looking for a reason. And she became my reason for quitting drinking and getting drugs out of my life. But so this was 2008. I had quit drinking, cold turkey, no program. And what happened was I got irritable, restless, and discontent. Now, at that time, she had 4 kids. My life was filled with activity. Like, there was no time to drink. There was no time for myself, let alone something like drinking or partying or any of that stuff. So my life was filled with activity, but I wasn't ready to handle the transition, I guess you could say. I wasn't ready to handle the transition to this, my life was self-centered before that. I had nothing and no one really in my life. I was working 2 jobs just to make enough money to support my drug and alcohol habit. So my time was filled. And now I made this transition to deal with kids, which is very difficult. It was difficult for me anyway. I don't know about for you. Comment down below if you've been through a difficult transition like that. Any comment, welcome. So what I needed to do was, so back then I had quit cold turkey, and I went for a little over 2 years without drinking. And the problem with that was I was now again convinced that, hey, I don't have an alcohol problem. I quit for 2 years. Nobody who's a serious alcoholic could just quit for 2 years on their own willpower, right? So I convinced myself again that, I'm not an alcoholic. See, and this was a huge mistake in my life when I look back on it now. Because, I got my ego back. I got my power back. I started thinking, I'm all powerful. I'm in control. I'm in charge. And that was the furthest thing from the truth, I learned, because at our wedding, I had quit drinking for about 2 years, and I was kind of scared of drinking because I didn't know if I drank that I would go out and do drugs. In fact, I thought that would happen. So I just didn't drink. I was afraid to pick up a drink because I didn't know what it would lead to in my life. And I we were at our wedding. We got married, and a bunch of my old friends were there, and they all brought beer because they didn't know I'd quit drinking. They didn't know about my problem, really. They didn't know about my drug alcohol problem. They didn't know how bad I was. I didn't know how bad I was. And I asked my wife at the time, I said, do you mind if I have a couple beers? You know, she's like, no, go ahead. It's our wedding. You should celebrate, enjoy. She didn't know. She didn't know what that was going to lead to. I didn't know what it was going to lead to. And what happened was I drank that one night, and then I didn't drink again for 8 months, 9 months, until my mom passed away. And at her funeral, after her funeral and, you know, the whole family gathering and get together, I had a bunch of drinks there, you know, and then I didn't drink again for another couple of months until like the summer of, that was February of 2011. And then maybe like summertime, or no, actually it was the end of 2011, November, when we bought our house and we moved in there, somebody had gotten me a couple bottles of wine, and I drank then, right? And then it was like a month later, then it was like a couple weeks later, and before I knew it, this whole thing, by the middle of 2012, I was really showing signs of having a serious problem. Like, I couldn't just drink on the weekends anymore. Like, that's how it started out. It was like every weekend I had a drink, and then I couldn't even make it to the weekend. So long story short with that whole thing is I've quit on my own without the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. I've had enough willpower to go cold turkey. But what I was missing was the fellowship. What I was missing was a program where I connect to God, to a power greater than myself. And it wasn't that I was an atheist or an agnostic or didn't believe in God. It was that I just didn't have a truly spiritual connection in the way that we have a connection through the 12 steps and going to meetings and talking with other alcoholics. A connection to God for me, like if I truly want to connect to my higher power, yes, I can do it myself through a step 11 practice, which is prayer, talking to God, and meditation, which is listening to God. But there's the third step, prayer, which is, God, I offer myself to you to build with me and to do with me as you would. Relieve me of the bondage, the burden of self, that I may better do your will. Take away my difficulties, that my victory over them would strengthen me and empower me. And again, I'm paraphrasing now. It's okay to put it in your own words. It's okay to put it in terms that you understand. That's how I've grown in the program, is I like to put it into my own words, my own verbiage. So that with the third step prayer, we connect to people, other alcoholics who experience the same problem. That's where we feel understood. That's how we get rid of some of the restlessness, the irritability. You know, when we go to a meeting, or should I say, when I go to a meeting, for 1 hour, I'm not in the cycle of thoughts that take place in my head, you know, where I'm just like circling around this one thought that's driving me nuts, making me irritable, because I don't have the power to fix it. You know, there's things in life that I don't have the power to fix, that I have to just give it up to God and be like, Lord, take this off of me. Like, this is too much. I can't handle this. I can't do this by myself. Please take it from me, Lord. Take it out of my mind. Take it out of my life. Whatever problem you're having in your life, ask God to take it away from you so that you don't have to deal with it anymore. This was one of my things that helped me to get rid of irritability, because I just couldn't get rid of it on my own. I can't relieve myself of my own irritability. I have to ask God for help with that. It's so powerful to do that, to develop. That is why we have to have a higher power in the program of AA. Something that we believe in. It's different for each of us, but we get to choose it for ourselves. I choose God and Jesus Christ. That's what I choose. You choose the thing that fits your psychological understanding of what God means to you. And sometimes that evolves over time. Like in the beginning of the program, I really didn't even, I chose God, but I really didn't think much about the Jesus Christ part because I was raised as a Christian. But I developed a stronger connection to that over time, to where now I can say it's like definitely God and Jesus Christ. They're like, for me, they're inseparable. Because I love the principle of forgiveness. Because I need more forgiveness in my life than anyone else, I feel. Right? I've done some of the worst shit. And I need forgiveness. I need to know that I'm forgiven of my sins. Because I've done some really bad stuff that I can't undo. I can never make amends to my mom. She passed away before I was sober and had done the 12 steps. She never got to see me as the person I am now. And that's sad, but like there's nothing I can do to change that. Again, I have to say, God, please take this guilt off of me. And I am forgiven of it. When I ask for forgiveness of my guilt, when I ask for that, I get it. Like the guilt has gone away. I understand that I can no longer change that. I just can't change it. The past cannot be changed. It's done. It's over. But I have to move on. Because if I don't move on, I can't help another person. And I have to help somebody else to keep the gift that I have been given. That is the truth. You can't keep the gift that you get in Alcoholics Anonymous unless you give it away to someone else who needs it. That's how we do it. That's how we work. So really, irritability, restlessness, I had it in the beginning. I dealt with a lot of restlessness because of the fact that, like going out to a bar and hanging out with friends and getting drunk was no longer an option for me. And I get that. A lot of people struggle with that. And I understand it because I went through it at one time. But the best thing that I can give you, maybe to overcome that, is to just embrace that discomfort of not being able to drink. Because what we're looking for is we're looking for a numbing effect. We're looking for something to take us out of our body. At least I was. When I was drinking, I was looking for a way to change my state of mind. And when I drank, I became relaxed. I became loose. I could talk to people, And when I got off drinking, well, now I kind of had to go through that whole uncomfortable phase that most people who don't have a drinking problem and are not alcoholics, they naturally embrace that phase of their life of getting to know people, getting to know themselves, getting over their shyness. Like I was super shy. Most people get over that early in life. I never did because I drank until I was in my 40s. So for me, I was starting out at, in my early 40s as if I was a teenager again and just learning how to talk to people, just learning how to live without having the luxury of picking up a drink and ignoring the fact that I'm shy, I'm anxious, I'm overexcitable, I'm overthinking everything. My mind is like pinned to the outcome and what people are going to say about me. Are they going to laugh at me? Are they going to think I look stupid? So I had to go through that all over again. That's what we learn in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. But the best thing I think I can give you as a tip for that, or to explain what happened to me, is just staying in it day by day. In degrees, you will get more and more comfortable with yourself. And going to a meeting and talking with other people and sharing your story. You know, I see a lot of people in the beginning of recovery and they don't want to share because they're very shy, timid, embarrassed that they're going to say something that people would laugh at. Trust me when I say there's nobody in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous that has not experienced what you are experiencing as a newcomer in the program. That's very important to understand. Everybody in AA has experienced in one way or another, or in little different idiosyncrasies, has experienced the same feeling and problems that you're going through in the program as a newcomer. So for me, I went and talked to those people and was like, how do I get through this? You know? And going to meetings and getting out of your own head because you're listening instead of thinking. You're listening to what other people have to say. So I encourage you, go to a meeting and just listen and stop overthinking everything. Try to get out of your head and get into serving and helping someone else. And trust me, you're helping someone else when you go to a meeting and you listen to them, because they feel heard. Even if they have 20 or 30 years in the program, it still heals us to be heard. Like, you could have 30 years in the program and maybe still want to drink at certain points. But that feeling, it goes away. And it becomes so minor that it doesn't even bother you. You can just float right past it. You're like, whatever. You know, you might have a moment where you feel like drinking and then you just brush it away. But it takes staying in the program for a period of time and dealing with that to get over it. There's no way to get around new feelings that you haven't felt before, except to immerse yourself in them and just recognize it and tell yourself, okay, this is discomfort. I'm feeling irritable. This is not comfortable for me. I feel bored. The other thing is to have a sober hobby. That helps you make it through that uncomfortable feeling of being irritable or being bored. Sober hobbies with other alcoholics. So if you guys or girls or group or whatever group you belong to, if you have 3, 4, 5 other friends who are alcoholics who are also bored and looking for things to do, and you all get together to do something, you're now stronger as a group, because one of you is not going to let another of you go out and drink. So you can go out and you can go bowling, you can, running, exercise, activities. All of those things help us as alcoholics. Activities with other people where you're not drinking. So if you're on the edge and you feel like falling off the wagon, don't go to a place where alcohol is available. That's huge, right? Go there, and if you do go out to do something, go out with other alcoholics who are going to watch after you and enjoy the activity of whatever you're doing with them. So that way you all enjoy it together, sober. Another thing for me, which is huge when it comes to irritable, discontent, restless, all of those feelings, something for me that's huge is running. I need physical activity. I cannot sit in a house. I can hardly stay in an office. I need to get up. I need to move. I need push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, squats, and running. I need cardiovascular movement in whatever way I can get it. Even jumping up and down on a trampoline, something as simple as that, gets my body moving and gets my blood flowing. So for me, that's huge. I need... Oh, there goes a bald eagle. That's huge for me. Running is a huge part of my recovery because when I get up in the morning, I've got maybe an hour where I have my cup of coffee and I get kind of just wake up and I get myself together. But after that, I start getting like this kind of like this restless, irritable feeling. And sometimes it's just as simple as like me and my dog are sitting there, and all of a sudden, like he squeaks because he wants something, and it just irritates me. So right there, I know I need some physical movement. Again, this is just like the higher power. We choose this for ourselves. We choose this based on what we like. So any type of physical movement that you enjoy is what you want to do. And for me, I need 30 to 60 minutes of that physical movement in order to get my mind feeling right. Like there's a certain thing that goes on with blood flow in the body and the brain. And when I get back from my run, I feel great. I feel loosened up. I feel relaxed. I feel at peace. And then I can do a meditation and my mind is very calm. These things for me, these are just little things that were so important for me. Getting into physical activity. Like I've always loved physical activity, but man, after quitting alcohol and even with not wanting a drink, I still get restless, and I need that physical activity first thing in the morning, every morning. I hardly ever take a day off from running. People are like, oh, you got to rest, you got to recover. I can't do it. Like my mind is not right until I get my running in, until I get my physical movement in. It's huge for me. So having a sober hobby like that and engaging in, 30 to 60 minutes of whatever physical exercise works for you, that was huge in my recovery. That's huge just living life. I mean, these are beautiful, beautiful truths that I have learned through the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I know lots of other people who don't need that, but you have to have some type of an activity that really engages you. Another thing that I love is I love writing in general, but writing down my purpose every day. I have a morning ritual that guides me to my purpose. So first thing in the morning, I'm tuning my mind for what I'm going to do in that day, the next 24-hour period that I'm going to engage in. I need to know what I need, even though I know what my purpose is, I need to write it down again and again and again every single day. And it changes. It starts to take on a little bit of a different meaning. It starts to morph into something better, and it becomes new and better that way. So I encourage everyone to really have a purpose or something that you want to do in your life, something that you can look forward to every day that doesn't ever get done. And what I mean by that is I never want to feel like my goals are all achieved and done, because I don't know, I need something to do. I want to work on them every day. So embracing that mindset that the work is really never done until you die. The work is never done. So I have to take steps towards my goals, towards my purpose, towards my mission. I have to take those steps every day, because that's where the joy and enlightenment in life is in the daily steps toward my goal. And that's what the 12 steps do for us as well. I'm always working the 12 steps. I'm always going back on them. I'm revisiting them. I'm thinking back to how I was 6 years ago versus today. Right now, I'm doing this video out here in the beautiful Halifax River. I'm sitting on a little park bench that's on a deck out in the river, and I love it because I have fresh air. There's people all around me. There's people over there in the park. I can see them. It's outdoors for me. I love the outdoors. That helps me to get rid of the irritableness and the restlessness. Being outside, smelling the fresh air, connection to nature, time in nature, and just embracing the sacred silence. So I'm sitting out here, And after I get done with this video, or before I do the video, I will sit and just close my eyes in this safe place and just enjoy breathing in and breathing out. It's so important to me to have that. You know, the air's nice and warm today. You can wear a t-shirt. It's not too hot. The sun's not out. It's not super bright. Sailboats are going down the river. It's really beautiful out here. So to connect to that nature and that like just sacred silence, even though there's noise off in the distance over there, it's like really silent right here in my own little bubble. There's nobody out here with me. You know, the nearest person is probably, 60 feet away from me. And I can still watch the movement, but I'm also by myself, if that makes any sense. And I'm just here connected to God. So I hope some of these ideas helped. I'd love to get your comments on the video. If you have topics that you're struggling with, let me know. If you have something that you share that you've heard within my experience, let me know. Like the video if you like the content, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone who needs it. All of those things are good because it connects all of us. We all connect with each other. When we have power in numbers where we don't have power by ourselves. We can do in a group, we can quit drinking through the group, through the program, through the fellowship where we struggle and we feel destitute and depressed on our own. And I've struggled with depression for many years. And I always say, I feel a sense of connection when I go into an AA meeting. I feel like I'm connected to other people who are struggling with the same damn problem I have. All of it. The drinking part, the boredom part, the loneliness part, the depression part, the anxiety part, all these little parts and pieces of life, the relationship part, if I'm struggling in a relationship, all these different things, all have a sense of connection when I go into a meeting and I stick around for a couple minutes afterwards and maybe talk to somebody or, ask somebody for help or tell them, hey, I'd like your share today because it made me think back in my life to when I experienced something like that. That's what we all have in common, is we're all people. We're all here to overcome this burden of alcoholism, what it creates in our life. So I hope you liked the video. Hope you liked the content. I look forward to hearing more comments and I look forward to hearing more shares. And anyone that wants to do a video with me where we can share something that would help another struggling alcoholic, I'm into that too. So let me know. So I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to you overcoming alcoholism and living a great life.